Good morning, beautiful. Oh, let me have the sunstrike. It makes me look like I'm, from somewhere out of space. Oh, I've lost it now. It is lovely to see you. Welcome to my front garden. Thank God the gales have gone away and we actually have some sanity. So let me show you some plants. And I hope you saw the pictures I just put up, because there's things flowering in the back garden. It's like there's a big choice, back garden or front garden. And there's things flowering in the back garden. I wanted to show them to you. And those lovely little orange violets, I've never seen them flower so well. It's very cool. So make sure you look that up. Let me show you the crazy sedum plant, which started with its flowers all upright and they've fallen over. But they're still amazing. And the insects love them, of course. Lots of pollen, lots of honey. Good morning, Linda. Good morning, Pearl. Shiny lady. Hello, Heather. So look at that, the little blue bottle flies, which are so colourful. Kathy, good morning. Eric, Laura, good morning. Amy, yay, it's great to see you. It's lovely to see everybody here, waiting faithfully for me. It's I just so appreciate that you care, that you turn up. And look, the Sporexis are starting. They're starting. Here are the purples. They're always first, and there will be more of them, but they're all starting to wake up now. And we've got lots and lots of red ones here, but we have some sort of coral orangey ones, and there's some bright hot pink here. They're all striped because they have this virus that changes things from a whole colour to stripes, but they're stripes. And then there's a lighter pink here, which is pretty, and there's the orange, which is quite fabulous. There you go, now you can really see the flower. So even though they're not perfect, even though they've got the virus which changes them from what they quote unquote should be, they're still wonderful. And then we have lots of red. We have the most of the red colour. That's just how it turned out. And they're all starting to happen. So, get ready for the Sporexis explosion. And look at this. I mean, this is a monster. Oh, I have to show you. Let me not forget to show you the freesias in full flower. Look at that. There's me. I've got too much sunlight bouncing off them to really see them. This is better. They're just beautiful. So many. Oh, look, we have a precious bee there. We no longer take bees for granted. They are very important creatures. So this one is just foraging, and you can see I can see that it's getting pollen all over its back. So, yeah, thank you for the love. We're going to fall here, of course. Yes, you're on the other side of the world. So, and look, this is one of the hybrids. See, it's really much more pure white. Whereas the proper Burtonii has got the purple hints. But this one is a cross. It's another, like that yellow one as well, is also a cross between this species. See, it's got the purple on the outside, and a bright gold freesia, which hasn't even come out yet, but they hybridize, and I love it. And look, you can see all the different yellows and creams here as well. So those are the highlights. And look, I have these tulips, and they come up faithfully every year, so they'll flower soon. Let me get into the topic, but it's very exciting when the bulb garden decides to light up and go crazy. So the topic today, Shuffy, you asked a wonderful question. You said, why are we stuck in our pain right now? Why are we stuck here in pain? What's the deal? And I thought, well, why are we stuck in pain? Really, what's the deal? When you're just stuck in pain or difficulty or whatever, and I know we talk about it a lot, but I haven't really talked about it from this perspective for a while, if ever. Jen, good morning. See your little face up there. It's lovely to see everybody who's jumping on. Just warms my heart. It does. It's lovely to see you. So yeah, and I've got the sun in my eye, but I thought, too bad. So how do we get stuck in pain? And at this point, it's very, very easy to say, well, I had an injury 15 years ago, and, my body was never the same. Or I had a traumatic experience 6 weeks ago, and I haven't been the same since. Jenny, good morning. Oh, bless you, Jen. It's lovely that you popped in. And the replay is just as good, because I jump on your comments anyway. Whatever you say, I'm going to read it. And if there's something that comes in me to reply, I'm going to write that. So, how do we get stuck in pain? Because it's very easy to look at our circumstances and say, hey, this is the reason why, right? And justified too. I'm not saying that if it happened to you 30 years ago and it was traumatic, that it shouldn't have had that effect on you. Powerful experiences get branded, literally, into the architecture of our brains. And how does that happen? You're in an experience, it's powerful, it's highly emotionally charged, and this works for good experiences too, by the way. The best memory in your life, you were so totally present, you were absolutely involved in it, because it was novel and it was exciting, it was wonderful, it felt really good, whatever it was, and your brain paid attention to see, because you were chemically altered inside you, your brain perked up and paid attention and said, what is there in our environment which has caused this amazing feeling? That's what happens. That's how the brain works. If we're chemically altered, because emotions are chemical things, and the body gets tired or hot or cold or whatever, light, heavy, blah, 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 but it's all chemistry. And so the brain notices the change in the chemistry and says, what's caused this? And it looks around, and the more chemistry there is, be it good or bad, the more it pays attention, takes a snapshot, and that is called a memory. That's how it works. Literally, that's neuroscience 101. Well, probably 001, because I'm no neuroscientist, but I know that's how it works. And so what then happens if you have a traumatic experience, going to the thing of being stuck in the pain of the trauma, is that it's so powerful that your brain makes ton of new connections. And then, after you've had the experience, of course, you tell people who maybe are medical and need to help you, or your family, or people that are supporting you, and they ask you what happened, and you tell them, good morning, Rebecca. And every time you tell the story or refer back to the experience in some way, you are strengthening those neurological connections. That's the first thing. And when you strengthen those neurological connections, you feel the same feelings again. That's why, PTSD, or the very happy memory, like a song that was playing on the happiest night of your life, or whatever it was, you hear the song, instantly you're transported back. It's like, oh yeah, I had such a great time that day. Because it's like that. Because there was so much powerfully pleasant sensory information, your brain remembered it, and the song is the trigger, right? And so the trigger is there, or somebody asks you, do you remember that time? And it all comes back. And all of those neural nets and all the chemistry comes back, and it's like it's happening now. And from your body's point of view, because that chemistry is pouring, it is happening now. And this is the thing that happens with trauma, particularly, is that the person has the experience, they have to deal with the police, they have to deal with medical people, they have to deal with family, they have to deal with support workers, and all those people are saying, you've had that experience, now you've told me the story, you've reinforced it in your brain, you've had the experience again telling it, because don't you re-experience things when you tell them? You've reinforced that, and we're now going to treat you like the person who's had that experience. We're going to accommodate the fact that you've got these triggers and you've got all this painful stuff, so your whole life starts to shape around the fact that you're like that. Hi, Abigail! People around you start to treat you as someone who's had that trauma, right? Or the person who's been diagnosed with cancer, that's common. It's like, oh my God, she's got cancer. We have to walk around her on tiptoe now. You get defined by the experience. Becomes your identity. And all the time, the environment then is starting to reinforce, I'm this person who has this disease. I'm this person who had this traumatic experience. And because of this disease or that experience or this limitation or this failure or this loss or whatever it is, that means this and this and this about me, and you become more and more defined by that memory of the past. And every time you remember that past, because it's painful, you get that painful chemistry again, you condition your body further into the past, and that is how you get stuck there. That is literally how you get stuck there. You might be living in, 12 years, 3 weeks, and 1 day away from that experience, but you're still remembering it, and your body and this is Joe Dispenza's word, your body is so objective. It does not know the difference between an experience that actually happens to you because something happened to you in your external world and an experience that happens within you because you thought about it. You created that experience by bringing up those memories and revisiting them again, and you create the experience again by thought alone. The body doesn't care. The body is still there. And so this is very easy for anyone who's had a really traumatic experience or a big failure, or a big loss, because you keep talking about it because people want to know and they want to support you, and your life has changed now, and they relate to you differently, and it becomes who you think you are. And you get very conditioned into being that person who's having that experience or had that experience, and nothing's the same now. Well, it's not, because you've had the experience. But the key thing is to realise that this is how it happens, and so if you don't want to stay stuck in your pain, you're going to have to do something different. And this is also why it's very challenging to stop being the person that's defined by your pain, because you're still dealing with the fact that you have mismanaged your energy and your emotions for however many years because you didn't know any better. Don't beat yourself up. You didn't know that you were conditioning your body to get stuck in the past, and you didn't know that how you were thinking and feeling and thinking and telling the story and everything else and investing yourself in it, saying, this is who I am, I'm a victim, or I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor. Both are the same. It's like, what do you mean? I'm a survivor of something. That thing is still there. The only time you really know you've moved past something is when you don't even remember it. It's like, oh, that was somebody else. That was another lifetime. Give you a real example from my life. When I was 19, I was engaged to a young man who actually was sexually abusive. Now, it wasn't extreme, but it was still traumatic for me. And long after that relationship ended, I used to think of him and I wanted him to die. And I mean painfully. I used to invest, Joe says, there's your enemies, you love them the most. I gave him so much love in the form of my negative attention. I poured hatred into my memory of that young man. And sometime, was it earlier this year? I don't know, last year, whenever it was, it's gone, I don't remember. I changed that, and I remember coming out of that meditation, because it was in meditation that I made this change, and there was just zero charge, and I could think of him and just know, well, he was in a lot of pain to behave like that. Because he was. I mean, nobody behaves like that unless they're in a lot of pain, or they have a really strange brain and they don't have empathy. That there's the sociopathic situation is different because a person really can't empathise. But he wasn't one of those. He was in pain, and he was just acting out his pain, and I was in pain, and I was, doing the flip side of that, and it was all just a co-creation, and I feel nothing but just neutrality, and I don't have to feel like that anymore, and, I hope he finds peace. And he probably has. And if he hasn't, it's okay. It's his journey. It just doesn't exist for me anymore. That's when you know that you are no longer in the past. Because the past doesn't exist, and it just rolls up into the present. And you have the wisdom, because as Joe says, Joe Dispenza, my inspiration, says, when you can look back on the past and you have a choice, you can choose whether to experience it again or not. Well, when you have that choice, and I have that choice now, I have no need to go back into that hatred and anger and, homicidal horribleness. I just don't need to do that anymore. I can choose to go back or not. And I don't, not only can choose, I'm not that person anymore. This is not me. That's when you know that you've left your past behind. Now, how do you do that? You have to first realise that you are stuck in your past completely. Okay, I am stuck in my past. I am defined by the memory of who I am and what I believe I can't do and all the failures and difficulties. Call it! Yay! You have to recognise where you are. You got to get aware, and sometimes that's like diving into a cold pool. It's like, oh my God, this is who I've been being. But more than, as well as that, you need to start figuring out who you want to be instead. You really do. You got to figure out who you want to be instead. And then the dance begins. And sometimes the all-out wrestling match Who am I going to be now? And I was just in the Heartfield before, and I was just saying, we're talking about this. This is what I call the flip-flop. You know who you want to flip into being. So you flip into the new state of being, however you do it, you choose who you want to be, and then you notice, oh God, I flopped back to the old me. No, I don't want to do that. I remember this is who I want to be. And, 2 minutes ago I did that, and I'm back again. No. This was the other day. This was Monday. I could feel my brain just wanted to go into fear and anxiety. It's like, no, I'm not doing this. It was over and over and over again. Flip-flop, 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 flip-flop. It can be really intense. But you've got to know that when you're doing that, if you persist, you are pruning those synaptic connections that for years and years and years and years you have fired unconsciously about how you used to be. Which is what made it so familiar and so damn easy to do. That's why it's so hard to change. That's why lots of people don't do this. Because you have to know who you want to be, and you have to get aware of who you've been being, and you have to continuously make the transition between the two. And then, if you like to say it this way, to add insult to injury, you have to do that while you're still right in the middle of your existing life. And maybe your body is still really hurting. And you're still, feeling huge loss or dealing with a massive financial mistake or error or failure. You've got to do all of that in the middle of everything. It's like, what the hell are you talking about, Matt? And this was exactly how I felt about it. Like, what? You mean you want me to hold a different state of being while I'm still in the middle of my life and I can't fix up my house and I can't make ends meet and, Yeah, and it does feel like an insult. But remember... And by the way, doing what I've been doing for the whole of my life wasn't getting me what I wanted anyway. But it was so damn hard to do something else. It's the hardest thing about change. To make a different choice from the choice you made yesterday. Oh my God, it's so hard. But if you know what you want to choose and you know why you want to choose it, because you understand that choosing to be the self you want to be and embodying the thoughts and the feelings of that self and finding sustainable ways that you can actually embrace to be that self, to embody it. So I use this word embodying. If you're doing that, you're sending a different signal to the universe. You're saying, universe, I'm no longer in resonant alignment with my current life. I am lining myself with my new life, with the life that I want to live and the person I want to be. And I'm going to keep doing this independent of my circumstances, even though my brain is screaming at me and all of my negativity and my old self and my beliefs and everything else are coming up and saying, no, you can't do that. I'm going to keep doing it because I understand that if I continue to align myself with the life that I want to live, if I continue to become that person, sooner or later it's going to find me. I'm going to stop looking for it and start being it. And that is how you move out of your pain. And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying that I've done it and it took me some time and it taught me persistence. And, I would do it faster now if I had the tools then than I have the tools now. But that's what we have to do, however you do it, and I love to do it in meditation. Not just any meditation, it's the meditation I do working with Dr. Joe. But everybody has to find their own way. Whoever you are and however you do it, that's fundamentally what you're doing. Because this is quantum law. Like attracts like. And where it can fall over is when people think, well, I'm thinking positive and I'm acting like a rich person, I'm acting like a healthy person. But you can think it and you can act it. But if you're acting confidence and you're thinking confidence, but you're feeling fear, it's not going to work. Your mind and your body are fighting each other. So you have to get your mind and your body in agreement, and until you feel it viscerally inside yourself so much, that's like it's real, I see you can bring back the trauma and you're back there and your body's having the experience and it's totally believable. It's like, oh my God, that was horrible. Well, can you remember the future that you desire that much? That's what we have to do. And when you do that, and I'm speaking from experience now, you get to the place where I can't say all of those things. Some of those things have changed, but a whole bunch of them haven't. And the old me would focus on the things that hadn't changed. Right now, I just don't care. I mean, it's going to be lovely when they land. It really is. I'm going to enjoy so much changing things about my living space and creating this huge vision that I have inside me. But the point is that I feel it now. I feel this wholeness and this completeness and this realness of my vision and my dreams now. And so I'm not looking for it. And I'm not feeling frustrated because it's not here yet, because it is here yet. And that's the one foot in both worlds that we talk about, you know. As much as I can, and I don't always succeed by any means. Burner, honey! I am living my future in my present. And it's dance. And sometimes it's an all-out wrestling match. But who am I going to be today? Oh, man. When the old stuff comes up and says, come on, go back to your old self. You know it feels good. Well, it does and it doesn't. It's familiar, it's known, it's easy, but I don't want to fire and wire those synapses anymore, and I don't want to feel like that. I don't like how this feels. So let me remember again who I want to be. And that's how you shift a lifetime of pain or frustration or loneliness or fear or sickness or whatever it is. You just got to unbecome who you've been and become that person who can't even remember how that was. Can't even remember when it changed. You just know that it did. It's gone now. It's no longer me. And that's what I wanted to say. And yeah, is it work? Yeah, it is work. Sometimes it's very hard work. And is it worth it? Oh yeah. It is so worth it. Very much love. Thank you so much for joining me out in the garden today. It's so good to be out here. Big love. I'll see you tomorrow.